From Riyadh and Saudi Arabia's political and military elite came a proposal. They want to end the war in Yemen, and they had some carrots for the Houthis.
We will do all we can to put the necessary pressure on the Houthis to accept and to come to the negotiating table and to lay down arms, because we believe that a stop to the fighting and a focus on a political solution is the only way forward.
This is Hodeidah port, held by the Houthis, but under blockade by the Saudi coalition, meaning most fuel and food imports are not getting through. This is Sana'a International Airport, held by the Houthis, but has not seen regular commercial flights since 2015. The Saudi government is proposing to ease the blockade on Hodeidah port and allow some flights to resume at Sana'a airport. Add to that new political negotiations and a nationwide UN-supervised ceasefire. The Iran-backed Houthis quickly rejected the proposal, stating the opening of ports and airports is a humanitarian right and not a bargaining chip.
They are imposing land, sea and air blockade on us. We have been discussing such things for more than a year. The real thing that we need is to deal with the humanitarian situation. We also need Saudi Arabia to stop its interference in Yemen and to stop its aggression and blockade on Yemen. This initiative has brought nothing new.
US President Joe Biden has rescinded support for Saudi Arabia in Yemen and reversed a decision to label the Houthis as terrorists. He appointed Timothy King as a special envoy to Yemen, who renewed talks with stakeholders. The US proposed a ceasefire last week, which the Houthis rejected, saying Riyadh must first lift its sea and air blockade. American will to end the conflict is high, and yet it seems the prospect of peace may be fueling the war.
We have seen serious escalations on the Houthi side and on Saudi Arabia's side. So it tells us that it seems that both parties are aware that there might be coming to an end soon, and they're trying to have the upper hand on the ground in order to improve their negotiation position.
Now, 6 years into the war, neither side wants to lose. And yet, as they fight to win, Yemenis are dying every day, succumbing to war, to disease, to famine. Charlotte Bellis, Al Jazeera.
Let's look at international reaction. Kimberly Halkett's at the White House. So I believe that the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has spoken to the Saudi Foreign Minister, who we saw in that report. Any word on what was said?
Yeah, we've just gotten a readout from that call, and what we know is that the United States has once again condemned the attacks from what they call Iranian-aligned groups with regard to those attacks that continue to be launched into Saudi territory. We also know that the two discussed the sort of cooperative effort that the United States can play in regards to ending the war on Yemen. What we're seeing here, Kamal, is really, once again, this United States position that essentially they feel that there is a need to not only end the conflict in Yemen, which is a Saudi-led conflict that the United Nations has called a humanitarian disaster, but also to bolster up the Saudi relationship with the United States, but only when it is in the interests of the United States. And clearly, given the fact that the United Nations has called this a humanitarian disaster, the United States feels that it can no longer support militarily or in terms of intelligence, and that is a decision that we're seeing now being played out, given the fact that the United States just weeks ago ended that support, and now we see this peace initiative being pushed forward.
So there's political pressure as well then, Kimberly, on Joe Biden and his administration to work with the Saudis and end all of this?
There's no question about it that for some time, whether it be during the Trump administration or continuing now in terms of the Biden administration, that there is no political support for that Saudi-led conflict. We've seen that in repeated measures in the U.S. Congress. We saw Donald Trump try to block those efforts and, in fact, successful doing so, vetoing some legislation. But now that we've seen the Biden administration moving forward, this is a trajectory that including members of the president's own party, want want to see continue. So to that end, what we're seeing is this kind of effort to kind of differentiate the U.S. position. Well, on the one hand, the United States believes there is an important role for the U.S.-Saudi relationship with respect to it being allowed to defend itself. At the same time, it also wants to continue this conversation because it's not just Yemen that the United States is concerned about and the Yemeni citizens, but also that there is a lack of freedom of expression, even democracy inside the Saudi kingdom. So sort of as a foundation of the policies and the foreign policy of this administration has been this upholding of human rights. And so this is sort of just another manifestation of that recalibration of the U.S.-Saudi relationship that the Biden administration says it's committed to.
That is Kimberly Halkett, our White House correspondent. Thank you, Kimberly.